want things for their own purposes or for their own dream ain't going to get it. I'm sorry about that. It's not going to be released. You can want it with all of your heart, but unless you pay, unless you go and fulfill the protocol that he's laying down, and I spent 3 years trying to find every which way around everything I could do. There is no way. Save yourself 3 years and a lot of pain. There is no way. It's the quality of the ground in us, the quality of the ground in our church that dictates whether the cares of everything will snuff it out, or we will yield 30 or 60 or 100-fold. And let's just level something right now. I am tired of the bride of Christ wanting to settle for 30-fold. Any harvest will be enough. He's promising us 100-fold. Every one of those grounds had the potential of 100-fold. Even the one with the marble floor. If you ripped up the concrete floor outside, you'd find earth. Enough to grow stuff in. If you have rocky ones that are really shallow, pull the stones up. This is what we did yesterday with the coke can. Pull the stuff out, and then you've got better ground. If you've got wheat and the cares of the world are coming out, pull the wheat out. You can still bring forth the harvest of 100-fold. God is limitless.
Amen.
He's always provided the best, the maximum possible. Why have we got this poverty mentality that 30 is enough? Colin Urquhart was a minister years and years ago. Well, he still isn't, a faith minister back in England now. And back in the 70s and 80s, my parents and he were friends. And somebody came up to him one conference and he said, Colin, he said, I just wish I could have your anointing. And Colin said, you can. You paid the price, you can have the anointing. Well, and I thought it was really, to be honest, I thought it was really hard. Because then he laid out, he said, you know, most days I spend 5 hours a day with the Lord in prayer and reading and study. And he said, but I'm on holiday now, so it's down to 3. On holiday. Every single day, 7 days a week. And he goes, so if you want to pay the price, you do. Now at that point, I hadn't got a vision, I hadn't got inspired, and reading the Bible was like death. It was the longest hour of the week. You know, it was like, oh, get me out of here, God. You know, my parents, God bless them, they tried their best with me. Then they gave me to God and that worked. And they would buy me these teaching notes. Do you guys get these Bible study notes every month? Yes? No? Yes? No? It's a really simple question. There's only the yes or no. You can't have in between. No? It's alright. I got them and I never read them. They'd sit there gathering dust. In fact, and then I got challenged by my parents one day. And I went like, okay, trip to the woodshed time, told off for not reading the Word, not reading the Bible, not studying, not everything else. Because they didn't know any of the abuse was going on. They only found that out 4 years ago. And so I figured, I learned the lesson. I don't like a trip to the woodshed. You know, I don't like getting told off. So I smartened up. So I'm clever. I have a master's degree in risk management. So this is how I manage the risk. I turned the page in the book every day before I went to sleep. So it was always on that day of the month. And they bought it. I isn't going to do it anymore. Now, I came out of 5 weeks in Texas, 5 weeks solely focused on preparation for this 6 weeks. Full time. I mean, well, I did have internet, but I laid everything aside for 5 whole weeks for this school. To see God, to understand what He was saying. This isn't going to come easy, folks. This demands my soul, my life, my all. And that was an ancient hymn. Old truths that we've thrown out, coming back now. That's what it's going to do. Now the upside, girls, okay? The upside, this is how come I'm where I am now. The upside is that out of that process, I developed a relationship with the Lord himself. In amongst all of the abuse and everything that was going on for 14 years, at times hourly, sometimes multiple times an hour, was my one true friend was the Lord. So I've never had a problem with grace, because he's my friend. I said to somebody in 2000, I don't know if you took the Lord out of me, what I'm really like. Because I just love him. And he loves me. And he and I have been best friends since I was, I don't know how old. So I'm playing catch up in the Word right now. It's not about doing, it's about being. I'm his friend. He loves me. I know that. And so for me to say, oh cool, can you get me the blue bucket that's out there? Bring it in. This was straight from the throne room. You wonder how sometimes God speaks. There you go. By the way, I am going to knock that over. Let's just so you know that I know I'm going to do it when I do it. It's about the quality of the ground. And so where we are and what we're doing is about us. He came to set us free from the powers of darkness, the powers of everything that goes on, and it's about letting that power work in and through us. You know, when the new temple was poured out, brilliant. And I don't throw it all over the carpet, just some of it. It's when the new covenant, when the temple, oh yeah, let me throw this in before I get into the temple stuff. The children of Israel held the presence of God in a man-made tent, that every time the pillar moved, they could pull down the tent of meeting, the tabernacle, and then move with God. That's our model for today. If God says change, we tear it down, we adapt, we move with the pillar. God says move there, we tear it down, we do it. If God says stop doing this, we do it this. If God says move this, we do it there. But somehow when they got into the promised land, where they took possession, they built a temple that was permanent structure. And we still do that now. We just build stuff and think it's going to last forever. That's not God's model. If we're following the leader, as the Disney cartoon says, following the leader. You know, that is a whole prophet. There's a whole message just in that little ditty. We're in the army of the obedient. When he says, I want you on assignment over there, yes sir, and off we go. Tear down everything and move. And we set up there. Why do we have this thing that everything has to be permanent? You read in the Bible, it says the callings and anointings of God are irrevocable, but not the office, not the position. Jerry's not going to be running around on a Zimmer frame at 997 years of age, still in the office of pastor. Why do we think this? Why do we think? I mean, trust me, I've really had to learn this lesson. This whole lesson of assignments right now has come out of my own pain. Because God said, I need you there for 2 years. And then when it's over, there's bloodshed and all sorts. And then I'm off somewhere and he says, I want you here. Bloodshed at the end of that. And I'm like, God, just kill the bloodshed bit, please. It's just like, why do we lose relationships all the time? Because people come and go on assignment, including leaders. And I'm talking as one that's been asked by five different times in the last 2 years to lead a church. And every single time God said no. And yes, sir. I'll give up the big flash car and the salary and the sunshine and all the benefits and everything else, and I'll stay on the road.